Hello, welcome to Comics Without Capes, where I chat about comics without superheroes. Today I want to chat about a book that I went into totally blind, and I'm so glad that I just wrote it out. I would recommend this book for so many different people. This is like literature. This is like poetry. This book is about life. It's about death. It's about really asking us some questions and causing you to like really reflect on what matters to you, what is living life for you. And that book is Daytripper by Gabriel and Fábio Moon. This book is by twin brothers from Brazil. They both have like worked on the writing, the art. They've written this in English, I think. Like, I don't see that there's anyone who has worked as a translator on this. I think it's just so interesting when two people work together on a book and make something where you really can't tell who does what. I just started reading like the original Ninja Turtles just because of that, because I'm like, wow, this is so cool that like two people have just like worked together on everything. So this is one that is also like that. These guys started out just doing self-published stuff. They wanted to make things that were different from the comics that they saw in Brazil, and they did it. They just have like been working hard at what they do. They got this published by DC's Vertigo label, so that's cool. But I think that kind of deceived me. Like, I would not picture this on a Vertigo or a DC line. So the Vertigo DC line was meant to kind of distinguish itself from the other DC comics in that it was like, this is for adults. This is more adult themes. Sometimes it's not superheroes. It's where they kind of put those things. I think all of them are supposed to say like suggested for mature readers on them. There's several that are not superhero books that are on that Vertigo label. But from the things that I have read on the Vertigo label, they're like supernatural, or there's somebody with like special abilities, things like that. This book, like going into it thinking that, I feel like almost like took away a little bit. This book would be totally at home with an indie publisher. It's about life. As much as going in this book, you're probably going to be like, what the heck, after reading a couple of chapters, but stay with it. It is about life. It is about reality, and it's not about taking you way outside of that. To very quickly describe this book, this is a book that addresses the reality of death a ton. We are following a writer who writes obituaries. We are following this guy's life. We are seeing the ups and downs, the relationships, the decisions that happen in life, the small intricacies. We're seeing all of that in here. This book is kind of like a thought experiment or a reflection or a meditation on life through the lens of death. And so it's something that like definitely forces you to come to terms with like death, but also doesn't frame death as a terrible thing. It kind of frames death more as a frame, as something that is undeniable. And that dance with like knowing that we're going to die and not letting it hinder our lives is something that this book does really, really well. I think it's a great book for anyone who's already been reading a lot of comics, or for someone who really does not understand what comics can be. This is like one of the top examples, I would say, for like showing someone that comics can be so much more than just superheroes and comedy, which is something that I had a belief about, which is why I have started this whole channel. I realized I was so wrong about what comics can be. The first few chapters, I was very like confused about where this book was going, what it was doing, and I did kind of need a little reprieve between some chapters. So I think I read it over the course of a few days. You could probably power through this in one sitting, but I would not really recommend that. I thought it was really nice to have that space to digest and have a little space to reflect between chapters. And it is just a one and done. I love books that are like that. I like to have things that are all self-contained. You only need to get the one thing. This is a book that at the end, when I finished it, I kind of just wanted to like read the book again with the lens of how I finished the book. So it is something that I think lends itself well to rereads as well. Thanks for joining me. If you want to hear more about comics that do not involve superheroes, feel free to check out my channel and subscribe. If you want, if you have read this book, feel free to leave like a spoiler-free mention of how you felt about it. Thanks for joining me. Take care.